supporters, to another new video of Coding Cleverly. Today's video's topic is about switch statements, and these work a little like if-else, multiple if-else statements, which we've done a little while, which we've done pretty earlier before, back in the beginning of our series. So I just wanted to bring this up. So how these work is basically like you have your file over here. So I'm just gonna start typing from the beginning. So I encourage you to type along with me to get the best practice out of this. So I'm just gonna have this new text file over here, and I'm just gonna zoom this in so you could see this more better. So you have in hash include IOStream, which is the preprocessor directive header file I use. And now I'm not gonna use namespace standard, which is a good practice not to use it, and I have a video regarding that topic as well. So we have the int main over here, and we also have these return 0, which is right here at the end. Now again, over here you don't have to necessarily have 0 always. You can have a 1, you can have any kind of integer, because it's a function and it has a return type of int. So you can have anything you want, and you can also have nothing inside and it still work. But I encourage you to do this as what practice is. So what we want here is a switch statement. Now switch statement is like a mechanism that works just like multiple if-else statements. So what it does is that it captures a value, and then it checks that value in multiple sequences of what it has to offer. So if it matches, it prints out a result. So to get the better understanding of this, we're going to start this typing out. So what we're going to have is basically a local variable declaration here. So I'm going to say local variable declaration. I'm going to create one over here, and basically I'm going to create something so simple like, I'll say char, and I'll have a grade, let's say, and I have a grade over here. Now I have a grade over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a switch statement, which is going to compare my grade with all the others, and it's going to prompt me out with a result. Like for instance, if I get A, I get an excellent outside in the screen. So if I get something like a B, I would get something like a good job or something. So let's see, you have a switch, we have grade inside. So this is the variable. Now note, remember that switch statements are limited to some certain data types. Now that's one of the downfalls of switch statements, and that's why I generally don't use it over the others. But there is it's a well documented format. So we have a switch grade, and what we do inside of here is that we have this squiggly brackets. So this is like a body of the switch statement. Inside of these parentheses, you have to put the variable. So basically what you want to compare, you want to compare grade, right? So we defined it over here, local variable declaration. And now what we're going to do is that we're going to compare them with all the cases. So we have cases over here. In others, we would have like if, and then we would have a condition, and then we would search. Over here we have case. So we have case, and then we would say case 1. Like in other cases, if we have integers, we would say case 1, case 2, case 3. But in the case prompt, we have to put the value. So we have to say if there's a character, so that means if it's A. So what's going to happen, we're going to put colon over here. This is the syntax for it. And then we're going to do is we're going to put tab right here. So tab right here. Now I just put tab because I just wanted to get it more documented. And what I would do is I would print out the console, or anything you would like to do. I would just do something really silly, really basic. Now you can see then I have a red over here, and it's because I didn't have the namespace standard defined. So I just have to put standard, and it would be out of the way. So what we want here is that we want to say excellent to this. So we'd say excellent, and we would just put standard, and we'd say end line. Okay, that's great. Now what we want to do is we want to close it. So we have this another statement which is called break. Now what it does is that we basically have more cases over here. So if I have case B, for instance, and I have over here standard colon C out, and I would say something like good. So, and then we'd have standard colon end line, and I would have a break over here as well. And now we'll have another case, and we'll say C, and we'll say, let's say standard colon C out, and then we'd say something like you passed or something, and then we'd say standard end line, and we'll have a break here as well. Now breaks aren't compulsory, but I'll tell you why we add them. So we have a D over here, and we would say standard colon C out, say good. I would just say something like average, something like that. I don't know. Put whatever you would like to do over here. And we have a break over here as well. Over here would have something like, let's say case. And now we have so many cases I would say case. I would have an F over here. I would have an F here, and I would put standard C out, and I would say better luck next time. And now let's break this as well. And now we have the last one, and now this is not compulsory either, it's a default statement. So what happens is that we have a default and then we have a colon, and we could just put something in prompt over here. So if and none of these matches, we could say something like invalid input or something. So this is our case when it doesn't match, and notice I don't have the standards, and I just need to insert that as well. All right, so now what we have here is that you'd see that this is a case statement, and let me just zoom out this. You can see that the body here is case A, and if it's like A, now we have A, it's going to print out excellent, and then it's going to break out the switch statement body, and it's just going to return over here. And I would prompt something over here, so I would say console output, so standard console output. I'm going to say your grade is, and I would say grade. Yeah, so this is basically how it is, and what's gonna do is that it's gonna print out my prompt, which is excellent, and then after that it's gonna break out the switch statement and go return here, and it's just gonna print out my grade, which is A. So it's gonna say your grade is A. So that's how it works. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this code. So let me run this code by Control Alt and N. And what you would see in my terminal is excellent, your grade is A. Now you see that there's no space into this, and there's no worries on that. We could fix this up. Just give a space over here, and you put a colon, and let's run this one more time just to see it more better. So your grade is A. Awesome. So this is how the switch case works, and what happens is the switch statement, what you could do is that you don't have to have these breaks. And now if I don't have the breaks included, now how would this work? So let me just fix this out. So this is called the if the breaks are not included, it's called the fall through, and that's an effect that happens when you don't have these included, and it's generally good to have them included. There are purposes when you don't want to have this included, but the thing is that it will now check every single thing, not until like break out of the switch statement when it matches first condition. It will check all of them, and generally it will print out this default as well. So if I have, for instance, F, it's going to check A, B, C, D, E, F. So it's going to check F, and then it's going to print out this default statement as well. So let me just run this code again. So I would just compile it like that, and I would just run it. So now you can see better luck next time, and then you have invalid input, and then you have your grade is F. So we have invalid input, which was in our default as well. That is why we generally don't have to make this fall through effect happen. So another way to express this out is that if you have something, for instance, if I have a grade that says, let's see, C, and the C grade is right now that over here, and I have case A and case B. I could have something like, for instance, I don't have to have this one over here, and I would say for case B and case C would say you passed, great, something like that. We could have something that would be matched for both cases. So in both cases, A and B, A and C, this is the prompt for it. So we could have something like that as well. So if I run this code and I would compile it again, so let's say it's this, and let's have that. So you have you passed, great, your grade is C. Now I have this for C. Now if I try for B, it's gonna give the same thing. So if I have B over here, wait a minute. So if I have B over here, save the code, and now I would go back and I would execute the code. So, and there you go, you passed, great, your grade is B. Awesome, that's working properly. Now another thing I wanted to note is that we could also put enums. Now enums was a video that I recently made a while right now before this one. So enums is also like enumerations. It's a user-defined data type which can be used to insert some customizable text. So you could have that, and we could create this inside the main logic as well as outside. So let me just create it inside of this main driven logic. I'll call it as enums, and I'll call it as enum. So then I will have a given name or something. So let's create a name, and I would say season. Now I would have the definition here. So this is how it's defined, and you put some values inside. So we could have something like winter, and I would say spring, and then I would say summer, and I would say fall. There you go. Now we have winter, spring, summer, and fall, and we could check, like, we could create a enum. So I would say season, and I would say what is it now. So right now, what is it, right? So I would say semicolon right here, and I would say what is it inside. I would put the value. So I would have winter, spring, summer, or fall. Let's say it's right now it's spring, so I would say spring, and I would save that. And inside the switch statement, I'm now just gonna put the value now, right? And the values that we have here, which is winter, spring, summer, and fall, we could insert these in the switch statements. So which in the case statements, we could just have, instead of those single quotes, we could just have winter, and you could have spring over here. So let me just copy that, and let me put that inside of this. I don't have to put another case, and I'll just put this inside of that. So replace with that, and then we have summer, which is right here, and let me just copy and paste it right here. And then we have another one, which is fall. So I would copy this, which is this whole thing, and entirely change it right here. And I would say, okay, so in the default, like, we don't necessarily have to have it, so I'll just delete it in this particular case. And let's say when it's winter, we'd say a prompt like it's snowing or something. So it's snowing. And in summer, I would say flowers time. Okay, whatever. So we have summer, we could say beach time. And for fall, we could have something like leaves are falling. So we could have all of this saved. And now what I would do is that after the switch statement, I would generally change it to the season. So the season, and we would have something over here in the grade. Instead of grade, now we would have season. So we'd say now. Whatever is in now will be displayed. So I would say the season, winter, and whatever the prompt will be. So let me try and compile this with my G++ compiler, because for some reason my VS Code compiler isn't working. So I would have this G++ code 56.cpp switch, and then we have switch right here. So we have spring, so flowers came, and the season is 1. Now 1 that's unexpected. Why is it 1? Okay, the reason behind 1 is that because of the fact that the enum starts from 0, and the value for spring is 1. So it starts from 0. This is the key, and then the value is 1, 0. So this is the key, so the value is 1. This is the key, and the value is 2. So basically 0, 1. You can see over here that you can see that it's 2 over here. I highlight over here, and it's 3. You could also specify the scope for this. Isn't required, but you could say something like season, and then put a colon, and put anything you would like over here. And so I would say now. So let's say season. And we'd say now spring, summer, fall. We would have that kind of value. So we know it's spring. So the value to the spring is 1. So it's just gonna appear in this terminal screen. So let's have this printed out again. So G++, and then switch. There you go. We have flowers, the season 1. That was it with this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also hope that you understood the concept behind switch statements. I'm not a big fan of these. Well, there are cases when you could apply it, but I think that multiple if-else statements can do the job for you. And this is just basically providing a little more documentation to your code. It looks much more prettier. Yeah, and that was it with this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Peace out.